مرحبا، مساء الخير عليكم كلكم. اليوم المحاضرة حتكون بالإنجليزي، بس إذا أي حدا كان عنده أي استفسار أو أسئلة بس يسألني بعدين. هلا أنا بس أحكي لكم شوي عن حالي. أنا درست Industrial Design. Industrial Design اختصاص بتصميم المنتجات اللي بتتصنع على mass production وبمصانع كبيرة. We are established in Amman. We're a small studio, and we focus purely on industrial design and product design, and we try to always incorporate human-centered design in our in our projects. And today our topic is about human-centered design, and we're going to briefly tell you about our projects, but we will specifically talk about one product just to show you the process of design and how we can incorporate a human-centered perspective in everything that we do. Human-centered design starts with the people you are designing for. That's basically what it means. It means that when you are designing, you are thinking about the person you are targeting this product for. It could be for an elderly person, it could be for babies, it could be for anybody. But you try to understand that user. You are empathetic to their needs. Empathetic to their needs means that you can put yourself in their shoes and you understand how it feels to be that person. So this is a very important aspect that maybe some people don't think designers do, but it's really important to be able to design a product that people will actually use and appreciate and add value to their life. No, back. لسه ما خلصت. كمان واحد يصير. It also understands the underlying issues. It's very, very important to do your homework, to understand what the real concerns are and what the real problems are. It's not enough to just, ask somebody, do you like this product or don't you? Is it useful or not? Because they will tell you what they think you want them to hear. But if you really dig deep and you try to understand what these issues are, you get closer to producing a product and designing a product that somebody will actually use and it will resonate in their life. And so it starts with the people you're designing it for, and then it ends with innovative solutions tailored for the people. Please. So this is, in a nutshell, basically what the design process is like. The bottom section that's in theory. The top part, that's reality. This is what it really looks like. It's just a lot of information, a lot of chaos, and then at some point you come through with a solution. But let's go with the theoretical part first, and let me just take you step by step with it. Before you start any design project, you have to understand the market. You have to know what you're designing and what the product you're designing is, and in what product market it's going to go. Maybe there's a product already out there that solves the problem, so you shouldn't really waste your time. But also understand the business planning aspect of it. How is it going to be produced? Will this product be mass produced? Will it be done in small volumes? These are all things that will affect the design decisions later on. If you're designing for mass production, you're designing the product in a certain way, the materials might change, the strategy will change. But if you're doing something customized also, so these are really important things to know and base your work on. And then you go to the user research. User research is, to me, the fun part. This is when you try to understand the user, you try to understand their daily lives, what their concerns are, how they use their products, what they wear every morning, what they do. This is where you really dig deep into their life and you try to find and identify the problems that face them daily. So you can try to improve them. Without this kind of information, you really will have no basis. So all of this information, we call it data gathering. So it's a lot of research, a lot of Googling, a lot of reading books, and also a lot of field research. You have to go out and meet people, do interviews, observe them, watch what they do. And then comes the really important part, which is analysis. When you get all this data, you need to make connections and you need to analyze it. in order to get, let's say, the challenges and the requirements that you will use as your benchmark and your guideline when you're designing. And then, of course, the design phase. Maybe many of you are designers and engineers, and you're familiar with it. You do a lot of conceptualization, sketching, design, prototyping, testing some more, back and forth until you come to the final product and then execution. So today I'm going to talk to you about just one project. We've done several human-centered projects. One of them, if you've seen our display in the hangar, we have a heart resuscitation device. We have a tableware set for the elderly that was designed for a company in New Zealand. Even our display in Ramadan, which is a sand art table lamps that was designed with a human perspective in mind, because we wanted to empower a certain community of sand artists. But today in specific, I want to talk about one product which we use daily. We picked our one-handed plate. This is a plate that's designed for people that have suffered a stroke, had a car accident, or have a disability, and all of a sudden they only have one arm, one hand to eat with. So imagine if you wake up one morning, your life's changed, and you only have your left hand to eat. So it becomes a very difficult task, it becomes frustrating, and it becomes tiring. And many people give up during their meal, and they don't really eat well, and their health deteriorates because they're not having good nutrition. So it was an important topic for us to talk about. Of course, like we told you earlier, you do market research. So we looked into the market to see if there are good solutions for people with one hand. Maybe we don't need to do anything about it. So we looked into the market, and we were actually really, really disappointed, and we were very surprised, and it compelled us to do more and to research this more. Most of the products out there for them include really large and humiliating bibs. They include a cutting board or funny-looking spoons. They don't have solutions that allow you to eat the way you're used to eating, which is to cut your meal directly in your plate without assistance, without having somebody to cut it for you or feed it to you. So we really felt this was a place where we can improve. Remember that reality sketch I had about the design process? Well, this is what it looks like when you do the research. This is basically what happens in our office when we're researching and designing. These are just maybe two of the boards that coordination and concentration to actually cut a piece and put it back in your mouth. This is something we do without thinking, but for somebody that's having a difficulty doing it, it really does take a lot of effort. So we went to the basics. We thought about all the muscle groups that we need, all the focus and all the concentration that it requires for somebody just to simply cut a bite out of their chicken and eat it. So after all that work and all that research, this is basically the challenges and the guidelines that we put for ourselves when it came to this project. The challenges were basically we need to design a solution that works. They need to be able to use this product and cut their meal directly in their plate and eat independently without somebody helping them. It should not be stigmatizing, meaning it shouldn't look like I have a disability when I'm using it. It should look like any other plate. We wanted to design a plate that looked dignifying, it looked appropriate, and it didn't look intimidating to use. We wanted this was important because it would encourage them to eat and eat socially as well. It's important. A big part of our meals in our societies, we like to eat with people. So we wanted to make sure that they are confident enough to sit and eat with everyone else. It also should offer the ability to enjoy a hot meal with company, meaning we wanted to stay away from the idea of giving them a cutting board where they have to prepare their meal ahead of time and then they can transfer it to their plate. We wanted to make sure they can do it directly in their plate. It has to be practical. Obviously, this is a product that needs to be used in the kitchen. It needs to be washed, thrown in the dishwasher. It needs to be practical like any other plate. And it also has to be manufacturable and economically feasible. This is a big part of what industrial designers do. We think about the end result. We're designing this, but at the same time, a beautiful concept can't go anywhere if it can't be manufactured, or it can't be, or it's too expensive to be manufactured. So we had to keep this in mind while we're designing and coming up with solutions. And then from the challenges, which are general, we went to specific design requirements. These are kind of the features we were trying to achieve. And also the requirements we felt that these users needed to have. In order to cut any bite or to use just one hand to eat, your plate can't move. It has to be stable on any surface. And we didn't want to specify them to a specific table or a specific chair. Wherever they are, they want to eat outside or in the dining room or in the kitchen, it can work. So it has to be stable on any surface. They obviously, like we said before, have to cut bites independently to be able to scoop also. So if they're eating rice or salad, they can scoop a meal. And it has to work for left and right-handed people. So if somebody has a disability on their right hand and they only have their left hand to use, it should work for them. We didn't want to design two separate plates. It doesn't make sense, and it's also not economically feasible. So we wanted one that would work either way and easy to use for anybody, so it's intuitive. It has to be safe and hygiene. This is important because, and it really made things harder for us to when we're designing, because that means there's no part lines. We're trying to add a tool for them to cut, but we can't use two separate materials. It has to be with one material, because if we're using two separate materials, let's say we put a partition or like pins like all the cutting boards have, that means there's going to be small edges where food will get trapped, and then it'll be hard to clean. It's not going to be safe after a while to use because they're not going to be able to clean it. So we wanted it to be as simple as possible with these considerations in mind. Dishwasher and microwave safe, obviously. It needs to not have any special treatment in the house. It has to be stackable. This was also a big limitation for us because we were designing a plate with a partition inside. So it needs to fit in the cupboard, in the kitchen, and you need to be able to stack more than one on top of each other. Again, it has to be like a regular plate. And we also wanted to give them a complete dining solution. We didn't want them just to have a plate. We also wanted them to have a bowl. If they're having soup and if they're having a salad, they can also use that as well. So also we were thinking about the complete and a nutritious meal for them to be able to eat whatever they want. So for the design process, it was really, really long, and there were so many iterations and so many concepts and so many sketches. So I'm not going to go into that, but I'm going to just point out something very important about when you're designing. Make sure you prototype and you do mock-ups and you do them often and you do a lot of them. And you do them cheaply. We started off with paper mock-ups, then to cardboard. And then at the end we went to more expensive prototyping methods, which are 3D printing and such, and then using ceramics. But the idea is that you always keep user feedback. When you do a lot of tests and you build something and you test it and you see the dimensions in real life, you can get user feedback really quick. When you get user feedback really quickly, you get closer to your solution. You realize if you're on track or off track. So it's very important to do a lot of fast and cheap prototypes. Don't spend too much money at the beginning because you're trying to just validate quick ideas and concepts. And of course, every time, for example, we have a habit in the office. Every time we do a prototype, every time we do a testing session, we document it, we take pictures, we observe, and we write notes. And this is what I mean where you observe and you improve. You take notes and then you improve on the next version and you keep going forward with it. So I won't delay you guys too long. I want to tell you now about the solution we came up with, which is also exhibited in the hangar. And again, yes, after many hours, it's an understatement. We realized at the end of it that the simplest solution was really the best one. This is our one-handed plate and bowl set. It's So we solved the cutting bites in this solution. We gave them a cutting edge and a cutting corner directly in the plate. It's built into the plate, it's all ceramic and it's all one piece. And the user can just simply put their steak or their chicken or their sandwich in that partition and then cut it in any direction they want. This is unique in the market, and it hasn't been done before, where somebody's given them basically a cutting tool inside their plate that's concealed and it looks elegant and it's not very obvious. And also to note that this works in both directions. So you simply just turn the plate and it's perfect for a left-handed person or a right-handed person. The openings that we have on the corners, that also gives them the ability to cut the size they want. So if they want a long strip, they want a little corner, they want a big piece, they can eat basically the way they want and however hungry they want it. They're not limited by how somebody else cut their meal for them. Scooping. Also, scooping was done by having a higher elevated edge for the plate. So they have the edge of the plate to just drag the food and scoop it up with it. But we also considered the mess that they may cause because they're eating with the wrong hand or with just with one hand. So we made the edges wide and also slanted. So if they do drop anything, it's not all over the table and looks embarrassing. It can just, bigger chances of it falling back into their plate and looking more elegant and less obvious. We also did stability through using a non-slip mat. So both the plate and the bowl don't move when you place them on the mat. But also the bowl locks into place on the plate. So if they're just having a soup, let's say in a sandwich or a soup and salad, they place the bowl in the middle of the plate, it's locked inside, and they can have a clean place for their spoon to rest on. They're also stackable. We after many trials and many dimensions and many experiments, we were able to get them to be stacked on top of each other because obviously the partition gets into the way, but we managed to do it in a way where you can fit a good number of these plates on top of each other in any cupboard. So they fit in any standard cupboard, and also the bowls obviously stack as well. And they're made from one material. I just wanted to point that out again. We were able to do it all with ceramics, all with one material. And so there's no seams, there's no corners where the food may get trapped. And this is the final result. These are displayed in the hangar if you want to go and try them in person. But I also want to leave you with just one last point. في slide ثانية, I think. حط كمان واحدة. So this is a quote I found and I really liked, because maybe not all of you will be designing plates or designing products, and you might be thinking, how can I apply human-centered design in what I do? Human-centered design is a holistic approach, and when it's done well, a human-centered approach fuels the creation of products that resonate more deeply with an audience and create a connection. They ultimately driving engagement and growth. This can be applied to an app you're designing, to a service, to a movie you might be filming. Basically, the idea is that you design a product for the people it's intended for, and you keep considering these people every time, throughout the process. You don't forget who you're designing it for. You keep putting yourself in their shoes, and this will get you a better product. You have a higher chance of innovating, and at the end, producing a product that will resonate with the people, that will be innovative, and will actually give value added to their life. Thank you. And if you have any questions about the process or anything, please let me know.